Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're coming to you with another Wednesday episode sponsored by Gray Fox Games.
January 29th, 2020.
Is the release date for this episode.
It's already 29th.
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Yeah. Time flies.
I hate how as you get older, it just keeps going quicker and quicker.
Yeah.
It's because you fill all of your time with not learning new things and like small children that are wondered by every small thing.
Also, any given chunk of time represents a smaller and smaller percentage.
The 1 year is 1/32nd of my life, whereas when I was 10, it was 1/10 of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's why you don't want to be immortal, because eventually you get to the point where a year literally feels like a second, and you can't just interact with anybody because you're just like, hey, they died 5 years ago? What?
They're dead? I should probably stop sucking the blood out of them.
I mean, they're already dead, though. What are they going to do with that blood?
I mean, yeah.
I want that blood.
Do vampires need like live people blood, or like they can have, because blood packs are a thing in like the Blade series?
in the Blade series, but in the Vampire Lestat series by Anne Rice, it was actually
Sexy vampires.
Sexy vampires, the original sexy
Yes.
vampires, far before Twilight. But in that
Before
one,
Twilight perfected the sexy vampire.
And sexy gargoyles and sexy, there's a lot of,
Yeah,
she bangs everything.
yes,
Yeah.
but anyhow, in that one, in particularly an interview with the vampire, there's a scene when Louis, the young vampire, intentionally tricks the other guy whose name I'm drawing a blank on, who was played by Tom Cruise in the movie. But anyway, tricks him into drinking a dead guy by like keeping the dead guy warm and making him think he was just passed out drunk. And then it like super fucks Tom Cruise's character up. Lestat, the vampire Lestat. Super fucks him up and almost kills him. He does manage to survive, but it definitely super fucks with him. So it depends on your vampire mythos, whether or not dead blood is sustainable for vampires.
Vampire sustainability.
Yes.
I guess you need to re-up, man.
I guess the other...
I need to sit at a desktop for more than 5 minutes.
Right? Yeah.
I guess the other kind of question that would go along with it is like, I mean, what defines dead blood? You know, like wood donated blood that's been sitting in a Red Cross like freezer for a while. Like, is that still going to work? A la that one really bad vampire movie with
Which one?
Blade 3.
No.
Oh, Blade Trinity. Oh.
No. I want to say it had
The Darkstalkers?
From Dusk Till Dawn.
No, that wasn't a bad
I know.
vampire movie.
I don't know if you think it's a bad movie or not. I'm just trying to think of vampire movies.
The one where Deadpool guy was playing Deadpool guy in a Blade movie.
Yeah, it's Blade Trinity.
I know.
Yeah.
No, shit. It was it had the Green Goblin from the
Willem Dafoe?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Willem Dafoe was in it.
In a vampire movie?
Yeah.
Vampire's Kiss. I don't know.
No.
Blackula.
No.
No.
Dracula meets Frankenstein.
No, also
Morbius.
That's not out yet.
No. God damn it.
That bad movie isn't out
I don't
yet.
know if William Dafoe's in that one or not.
That's true.
I guess if they brought him back as the Green Goblin.
Ooh, Lost Boys was a really good vampire movie.
Don't know.
I'm
Didn't
scrolling
see
through
it.
a list of like vampire movies.
This is not
30 Days of Night was pretty good.
Yeah. I thought we wanted to do board game stuff in the beginning now. See, this is why I didn't want to do that, because it's so easy to just immediately get off topic.
We started talking about immortality.
Exactly.
And,
yeah.
And then one thing
we've
leads
jumped
to
rails
another.
at least
It's
3
true.
times.
It's true.
It's at least 2 rail drifting right now.
Yeah.
The Vegan Vampire is ranked the 59th best vampire movie on IMDb.
Is that because there are 59 movies about vampires?
No.
It's because it got dead last. You're thinking of Shadow of the Vampire with
Right.
William Dafoe and John Malkovich.
No.
Okay, then it's not a William Dafoe vampire
Then it's not
movie.
Willem Dafoe.
Daybreakers?
Yes. Daybreakers.
Yeah, Daybreakers is the one. That's the one where vampires have now ruled the world and
Okay.
human are cattle and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Who's the main actor guy in that?
Ethan Hawke.
That's... I don't know why I couldn't remember his fucking name.
Yeah.
So frustrating. Let's get on to board games to start things off, and then we'll come back.
We'll
come back to vampires, or we'll just
come back to Daybreakers
Yeah,
specifically?
okay.
We'll
All right, good.
specifically
Make
come
a
back
note.
to Daybreakers.
Daybreakers break.
Yeah.
Now we'll come back to...
Starts.
So there wasn't a board game stream for the second week in a row, sadly enough.
But we recorded a podcast.
because
yeah.
we recorded a top
Top 2019.
A 2019 in review
Yes.
podcast where we talked about a lot of things about 2019.
Which will be released Monday.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. I didn't get time to it today.
Yeah. And it featured a good amount of rambliness that needed editing. Because originally the plan was we were going to record it and then fucking release it.
Yes.
But then we started talking and then immediately like, oh, that was unsustainable.
That plan was never going to work.
That's basically MHGG looks back at our 2019 because we very early established that we did not do anything enough in 2019 to talk about it objectively.
Yeah. Yeah, like my top 3 for 2019 almost didn't have 3 games on it.
Yeah.
So
it almost included Tapestry.
It almost included Tapestry.
I mean, it technically did for a little while.
Yes.
And then we brought up a game that you had played, and we were like, oh, yeah.
It is better.
Now that one's on my list instead of Tapestry.
Yeah. So, but yes, that'll hit the podcast feed on Monday. So you should have heard it by the time you're hearing this on Wednesday.
Yes, that is true. That will be probably true. Yes.
Just in time for
hedging the bets.
the end of the first month of January of 2020.
I mean, look, I'm planning to do it, but then if someone's like, Zach, if I just knock you out for 3 days, can I just help you get a car? Then I would be unconscious for 3 days. So
Yes.
I can't make a promise that I won't 100% be able to keep.
Fair enough. However,
This is the way.
So although there weren't streams for the last 2 weeks, there will be a stream this Friday.
I mean, there was a stream because we did stream the.
Yes. But we're talking about like this is what we've been playing.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just clarifying.
Yes.
Trying to get you frustrated.
It's working
Good.
because it has been a very stressful last like 72 hours.
Gotcha.
But there will be a board game play streamed this Friday.
You're looking really frustrated. I feel like you want to. I think you should just take a break for like 2 weeks.
I'm going to. I'm definitely going to. But on Friday, you guys are going to stream. Are you streaming Marvel first, or are you streaming Tales of Love first?
Fog of Love.
Fog of Love.
Probably Marvel.
Probably Marvel.
Yeah.
Probably Marvel.
But
Unless the new decks are going to come out like in the next week.
they come out on the 7th.
So no.
So you'll wait and stream that one second.
It doesn't matter if we do Marvel Champions or because the 7th will not happen before.
It happens on the Friday. It would come out that day.
It would come out that day.
And one of us would have to go get it to make sure.
Yeah.
So
if they get, even if the shipping miracles work and retail stores actually get them on that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, one of the next 2 Fridays will be Marvel Champions. The other one will be Fog of Love. Both 2-player streams.
We've played 3-player Marvel, and it's going to be a 2-player Marvel.
Yes.
But you guys will be running those streams while I'm off in Japan on my vacation. So
You better come back relaxed, is all I'm saying.
we'll see.
Or all of your knees shattered.
That's definitely going to happen.
Speaking of shattering,
Speaking of shattering,
I was segue into board games.
Okay.
back into board games.
Okay.
So I got to play a few games on Wednesday, and it was a very interesting experience for me. And I'm going to talk about how I renewed my faith in Splendor and re-solidified my opinion of Splendor in a positive direction. So game night started off on a downer note because I played Irish Gauge, which wasn't the downer note. The downer note was that Megan hated it. So Megan did not like Irish Gauge.
What did she not like about it?
It seemed like everything. Definitely a lot of the, well, I don't even know what to do or why to do it. And
I mean, I feel that would get fixed with another play, knowing that better. Right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I told her I wouldn't make her play it for a while, but that at some point I would cash in a please give this one more chance card that I can't wait too long for, because then she'll go back to being like, I don't remember anything about this game.
How many people did you play with?
5.
Were they all good people?
No.
Okay. All right.
Were they terrible people?
I mean, they're all fine people. It was mostly a fine group.
Were they objectively bad?
There was one of the players that some people might have opinions about.
I can't believe he's just throwing shit on Megan like this now. Jesus Christ.
Some people have opinions about Megan. Strong opinions, some would say. So Irish Gauge, unfortunately, I continue my streak at just getting my ass kicked at Irish Gauge. I came in last to Megan, who felt like she didn't know what was going on the entire game and only ever bought 1 stock, and she still beat me. So I did real bad. Then we were getting ready to play Vanuatu. I was going to teach Megan Vanuatu. and a couple other people, and I was all set up for it. And all of a sudden, somebody kind of tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "Excuse me, could you point out the organizers?" And Megan immediately chimed in and was like, "Oh, well, that's him." And I was like, "Yes, that's me." And it was a fairly older woman. And she was like, "Okay, I am here to drop off this person." And she indicates a young man behind her. And she says that this guy, Dennis, is here. He's been here in the U.S. for 4 weeks. He's from Haiti, and he doesn't really know board games, but I thought it might be fun for him to come out and learn about board games at your event. Would you please, show him around and maybe teach him some games? And it was like, sure, yeah, 100%, definitely. That immediately meant Vanuatu was off the table. So she left. She peaced out. She was like, he knows how to get home. He knows how to take the bus. He's got money. Like, he's fine.
Rob him.
Rob him, please. Show him that the U.S. is just a hellhole, and he should be afraid for his life here.
Go somewhere else.
Show him how we made America great again.
Yes. Oof. Big oof.
Yep.
Anyhow, so she left. She peaced out. And so we were talking to him, trying to feel out what experience, if any, he had with any kind of games. So, like, Megan was talking to him while I started looking for games, and he listed like 4 or 5 games that he had played that none of us had ever heard of.
Do you remember any of them?
No.
Okay.
I like I said, I was starting already to look at other games. Megan might have remembered some of them, but no, they were like very much like clearly weird. No, not weird, but like local Haitian games probably that, things like, I don't know, weird colloquial games. So we started looking around and was like, oh my God, like there's not a lot of games that are going to be easy to teach to a new board gamer while dealing with a language barrier. Like those two forces in combination were really stifling us. Luckily, in the back corner, I found somebody's opened but punched and sorted copy of Splendor. And we were like, Splendor will probably work. It's got all the symbols you need right out there in the open, and we can kind of help him along. And so we taught him Splendor, and it took him a few turns to really get things to click. Like he didn't get immediately that the cards you bought counted as gems for buying other cards.
Yeah.
That took him a few turns.
I can understand that.
And I think he didn't quite grasp the points at first until like at one point he was going to buy a level 1 card with no points. And we were like, all right, I don't want to tell you how to play, but I do want to point out you have enough chips there with your like 8 chips that you can get one of these middle cards that are worth 5 points. And you should definitely do that. But then he ended up winning, ultimately. Megan was the one who triggered the end. She got to 16 points. And she was first player, however, so it went around the table one more time, or went like to the end of the turn order. And he was the last player, and on his turn, he was able to buy a card worth 3 points, which also got him a noble worth 3 points, and rocketed him 2 points into the lead.
Nice.
So
you've said there's 2 people who you thought were unbeatable in Splendor.
And
Megan.
One of them just lost.
One of them just lost. So it's just me.
Correct.
And I'll play Splendor again once I can finally get Jeff to fucking play cribbage again and take that goddamn crown from him.
And we'll play on your board, which means you'll automatically lose.
That seems right. I've won a couple, okay? So,
okay.
Yeah.
Probably less than 50-50.
That's definitely.
I will not respond to that.
Apparently, Paul says you skunked him at least once.
That's true.
So.
Yeah.
So anyway, Splendor ended up working great as an intro level game to teach somebody with a language barrier and have them actually understand the game and be able to be competitive.
Enjoy it?
And enjoy it.
Okay,
he seemed to.
Okay.
We offered to play again because I was like, there was not a lot of games that we were going to be able to teach him at game night. So I was like, do you want to play again now that you understand the rules, or do you want to learn something else? And he said, maybe something else. So I don't know how much he actually enjoyed it, but it's probably a feeling of like, I won, but I don't really know how I won. So, and that can be frustrating. So then we busted out No Thanks was the next thing we found that we thought was going to be something we could teach him reasonably well. And
you played with my copy.
And played with
the unnecessarily large cards.
Ridiculously large cards.
But the really nice pieces. I like those a lot better than the red ones.
Yes.
So
than the little tiddlywinks tokens. Yeah. That one went pretty well. He seemed to get it again fairly reasonably, but I don't remember who won that one. Wasn't me.
We may never
obviously.
It was not.
Obviously, it was not you.
I had a bad night of game night. I got whooped multiple times. So that's mostly what I played board game wise. Mile High Dungeon Delvers did record last night, Saturday night, the 25th, a pre-record episode that will drop while I'm in Japan and while Leander is in the Caribbean, I think. He's
going
away on business. Yeah. I'm going away on vacation, but we will both not be here. So we're going to do kind of like we did last week with the episode we recorded at Hexacon. We released it, and then everybody who was around got in chat and like chatted with fans through the episode, which is actually a lot of fun. And it worked great for everybody actually knowing what the fuck happened on the last episode because we'd all just watched it after it happened.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah. So that's what I've played. Otherwise, mostly the last few games I've played be a crazy person trying to get ready for Japan while also running multiple streams on multiple consecutive nights and having no free time at all. So,
woohoo.
Yeah. Jeff, what about you? What have you been playing?
I started the week with some Castles of Burgundy, which I
Card
had
game
never...
or
the original
okay.
ye olde 2011.
Sure.
Castles of Burgundy, which I had owned for a long time, but never actually got to the table. People have a lot of opinions on Castles of Burgundy. It wasn't a full game, and it was a learning game, but I enjoyed it. Sort of dice drafting. Well, you roll dice, and then you draft tiles from the various sections that you can, and then you put them onto the board, depending on what, die you used to place it. And then you just kind of go from there with selling goods and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Putting cattle next to other cattle tiles gets you more points. It was interesting. I would like to play a full game.
Okay.
But I can see how people would be like, it's kind of an older game and move on to better, newer games that, have various better versions of those mechanics. Played some Star Realms. Star Realms continues to be real good. Then Saturday, we played some games before we went and saw The Color Out of Space. We played a full game of God of War. So my second full game of God of War and first at 3 players, which is now the minimum amount of players that I would like to play that game at.
Yes.
Okay.
We played with Paul and Zach and myself, and we did the usual Kratos, Atreus, and then Paul played the head.
Demanded
To play the beheaded Mimir. It was interesting. Mimir can attach himself to players, and then all of his cards are special cards, which can be played at any time to assist other players. So he's like a support character.
Okay.
We went through all 3 scenarios fairly easily. We didn't really run into much trouble at all. And whooped pretty much everything top to bottom all the way through the game. But all the scenarios had various cool mechanics with the card tableau flipping and things like that. But I think this game, once I get through all of the scenarios, because there's 6 standard quests and 4 end bosses. Once I see all the end bosses, I'm sort of kind of going to be done with it. Because I'm not really going to get anything out of it because I know how to beat each encounter. And it's really just, it's not mechanically interesting enough to want to play it because of the deck building portion of it.
Fair enough.
But the scenarios you go through are interesting, but it does not have long legs, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
Much like Mimir, who has no legs because he's a head.
Yes.
You legless bitch.
Yep. Then we played The Grizzled. We played The Grizzled on hard with the expansion, of course, because, it's the best way to play that game anymore.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So we played all hard missions. Well, the hard mission deck build, which has
2, 4, 6 for 2 easy, 4 normal, 6 hard.
Yes. And we absolutely destroyed the Grizzled. It was the fastest sweep out of the Grizzled I have ever seen. All the supports went where they were supposed to go. We got some bad missions when it didn't really matter. One mission that made everyone lose their good luck charm, but only one person had one at that point, so it didn't matter.
Okay.
That was the second mission, and I was the leader in the first mission, and so I had seen that card, and so I was just like, hey, you could probably just get rid of that card. Let us play some more. Use your good luck charm to get rid of things, and then you could just keep everybody feel free to just use their good luck charms if they want.
What got real rough was at the end. I ended the final round with 4 hard knocks, and I had the one where I had to remove a support tile from the game, and I think mine was, I think Zach's was random.
No, Jeff's or Paul's was random.
Paul's was at random, so I didn't think anyone was be able to give me a support token. But Paul's final card was Merry Christmas, and so he pulled out one of my hard knocks, and that was literally the last card that was played.
Yeah,
and that was boom, and I think we went 5 rounds.
That seems right, yeah.
And won.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it was like an absolute smashing of the Grizzled on hard.
And I thought it was going to end up being a lot worse because there was at least 2 rounds where I had like 5 or 6 cards in my hands. But then I had 4 cards that I was able to play on that last round because you guys were able to. And I was like, oh, all of these 4 are all mutually exclusive. They will not cause me to get fucked. So.
Because he had Fragile, which he had to, or I think we got rid of it at one point, but he would have had to withdraw is the word I was thinking of. Withdraw whenever there's 2 identical threats.
Gotcha.
And I don't know if I'm absolutely insane or they have done multiple versions of the Grizzled, but I could have sworn that all of the components in whose copy of this is Paul's. All the components were bigger than my older copy because I got a very early copy. And I think this one must have been a later one, but it seemed like all the support tiles were bigger. The speeches were bigger. The first player token was bigger. I don't know if I'm insane or like they made a bigger component version printing later.
I feel like both could be true.
Yeah. I need to get my version and compare and contrast. But I also haven't played it in quite some time. So
also you should take out the Armistice one to see if maybe that's what you're thinking of too. But
like the Armistice Edition's components were bigger and maybe they started using those in the like normal version
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hard to say.
I did some research and I couldn't find anything about it. So I was extremely tired that day too. So
I mean, this could just be another, was it a Berenstein Bears sort of thing?
Oh my God. That still trips me out.
I know.
I was going to say...
you do have crazy person hair, though.
Yeah,
Jeff, so
yeah.
I was going to say, like, the endless debate about did the old copies of Splendor have, like, good clay chips versus the new copies having plastic shitty chips?
They're not shitty. I mean, they're not shitty, but they're not as good. There is a weight difference between the two that has been identified. But it's like...
I thought it was largely a hoax.
No, but it's like 1 or 2 ounce difference, if that, or half ounce. Like, it's enough that you can find out, but if you're just playing and you didn't know that, you're not going to look at it and be like, man, this feels like 22% lighter.
So yeah, we absolutely fucking destroyed the Grizzled.
Nice.
In a rare show of just getting the right draws and right plays, and everything went well enough at least.
Cool.
I mean, I could have played those 2 hard knocks that were like, no one can withdraw if they have cards in their hand, and I can't withdraw if I don't have 2 or less, and I had all those in my hand, and I was just like, everyone's got plenty of cards. I'm just not gonna play this.
Oh, I had that card from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then one of the times you guys were like, hey, don't forget about strategic withdrawal.
Oh,
I was like,
put it back
that's
on
right.
top.
And I just put that away. It's like, that's not my problem anymore.
Someone else sucks on this now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what about you, Zach? What have you been playing?
So there are 2 main games that I played that haven't already been mentioned. One was Isle of Cats last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, at River North. V got her copy of Isle of Cats from Kickstarter and played it with Wes and Kaiser and somebody else. I don't remember who it was. But they seemed to enjoy it, and so I told V, I was like, hey, if you bring that next week, I'll play it. Well, next week came, and I also came there, and she also there, so the stars aligned, and we played the game.
Hooray!
Great story.
So this is sort of a, you know how I like polyomino sort of things, and I really like how well just cats on polyominoes like matches thematically, because they will just lay whatever the fucking way they want, like stretching out super far at this weird like triangle angle or and shit like that, and so
they make a bunch of shapes.
They make a bunch of shapes, and so this thing is like there's just a bunch of cats on an island, and then everybody comes with boats and takes the cats away before the bad guy from City of Kings comes in. Like the game City of Kings has a bad guy in it. He's also in this, so it is in the same world apparently.
Great.
Yeah. And it was pretty enjoyable.
Did V do better?
Yeah, yes. Apparently every other time she played, she would always lose by like a large amount. This one she got second, and she only lost by like 7 points or something like that. So it was like 66 to 58. So she lost by 8.
Okay.
But I think I got 53, and then somebody else got like 49. So there was like she was decidedly in second. She did a lot better. My problem is that I sort of misunderstood how negative points were going to work, and so I put some final token pieces in suboptimal places because I thought, I was like, oh, these will be the same because of, like, I was thinking every open square was a -1. It's like, it's not that, it's only the rats.
Right.
And then rooms that you didn't finish. But if a room had 1 open space or 10 open spaces, there was no difference there.
Oh.
So that's what that was my fault. But I enjoyed it. It has this sort of interesting balance. You get income each round, which is like fish, and you use those fish to buy cats, to buy cards. And you are obviously you can't just spend all your cats all the time, because then you won't have enough to get like the more expensive cats, because they're like 3 or 5 fish. But my only criticism on the game is that and it's solely mine, is that I thought it was going to be 1 round longer than it was. And so I was planning to do all this other stuff, and then it was like, all right, this is the last round, and I was like, oh no, I've made a huge mistake.
There are problems.
Yeah, because it has like, it's like 5-2, it's like 5-3, 5-4, 3-2-1, and then like the ship's here, and then like at the end of the round you move it from like 5 to 4. But when you move it to 1 to ship, like that's when the ship gets there. So I was misreading it. I was like, oh, this is like the final round before, like this is the last round before the final round, and it's like, no, this is the last one. And I was like, whoops. So, but I enjoyed it.
Cool.
Next one was a trick-taking game called
Sticheln.
Sticheln. It's a German game. It's like from 1993.
This is the one you guys were talking about on Slack with
yes,
Over?
Yeah. Paul finally got a chance to, like, he'd been wanting to play it for a while. He'd learned the rules, like looking them up online, because it's all in German, right? But it's, the cards are just numbers, so that's fine. So this is a trick-taking game where you have 5 suits, and they were numbered 0 to 14. And then everybody gets, so we're playing with 5 people, you get 15 cards in your hand, and then you're basically choosing, I think it was called a mercy suit. I forget what it's called exactly, but basically you're going to put a suit down, and that becomes like how you get negative points. So when you're taking tricks, every card you get that is not your misery suit, thank you, Paul, you're going to get 1 point for every card. But for every card you get that has the misery suit, so say it's red, if it's a 5, you're going to get negative 5 points. So for every card you get is +1, but any bad card you get is minus whatever the number is. So you could get negative 14 points from one card if you get the wrong one. Okay. But when you're playing a card, so say I lead with gray, which is one of the colors, if everybody plays gray, then obviously whatever the highest number is, that person wins the suit. They win the trick. But if anybody throws anything off, like, because you don't have to follow if you don't want to in this trick-taking game, unlike a lot of the other ones, right?
Okay.
But if you throw anything that isn't that suit, that now becomes trump. So that means if I threw a 14 gray out to start, and then you threw a 1 of blue, you are now beating me.
Okay.
And for somebody else can beat you if they want by throwing like a 2 or higher of just another color that isn't the gray. It's not like blue becomes there are 4 trumps whenever you're playing. It's just whatever the lead card isn't.
So basically, yeah, everything except the active suit is a trump card.
Yes.
The fuck?
Yeah. And here's the thing is, like, so say I led a 6 on gray, and then you played, and say you're like, I'm going to play a 13 in green. But Jeff's card, like his misery suit is green, so obviously he doesn't want to take that because of, or say you threw a 10. Let me just say that again so it makes more sense. Okay.
Okay.
So say I play a green 6.
Okay.
And then you play a 10 of gray.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Jeff's misery suit is gray, so he doesn't want to take the 10 that you've played. But your misery suit is red. Well, he doesn't want to take that one, so he's just going to not throw anything that's 11 or higher, because then he would take the trick, right? But he'll throw like a 9 of red that he has, and that means that you are now taking -7 points for that hand that we played.
Okay.
Because you won it, so you get the
2
gray
positive, and then I get the 10 or
you
the
get the
9
-9.
okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
And so when you're playing with, so how you play cards it feels very different than many other trick taking games that I've played. Is that mind space of not wanting to follow suits, like trying to throw off, but not like you don't want to just throw high cards out willy nilly because then everyone's gonna be like, oh sweet. Well, your dump suit or your misery suit's yellow. We're just going to get you fucking -20 points in one hand in yellow, which I saw happen multiple times, mainly to Sean.
Okay.
But we just played 3 rounds because technically you play 10 rounds or first to 100.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. But I ended up winning that one after the 3rd round because I was able to each round not get to net out 2 positive numbers each time. So
nice.
It's like I had 11 and then 7 and then 9 on like my 3 ones here where like V started out with -27. So
not shabby.
Having one wrong play on your trump can really fuck you in this game.
Yeah.
But so I can definitely see this not being for everyone.
Okay.
It's definitely something I could see you enjoying, and then like you misplay one thing and everyone's like, all right, well, let's just fuck Adrian on this one. And then you're just like, God damn it, because of your misplay, you fucked yourself in the entire game.
Yeah, this feels like it's different enough that like it's a quick little card game. I'm more okay with that kind of.
I mean, I would say it would take 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah,
that's
a quick little card game in my book.
Okay. But yeah, it's I enjoyed it, and I definitely should say you should try it because it is very interesting to see a unique trick taking game that we've played a lot of them and they tend to be fairly similar, and this one was not that. So
cool.
Yeah, but that was it for me.
So that wraps up what we've been playing. So we can move back into some banter. So let's go back and talk about Daybreak because
you've really been wanting
to talk about vampires drinking from blood bags.
Gotcha.
No. Anyhow, but let's actually talk about a movie because you guys went and saw a movie yesterday.
Yeah.
That had the potential to be truly insane.
Yeah, so it was Color Out of Space.
Yeah.
Which is based on a Lovecraft short story, I think. I don't know his novels and what's a novel and what's a short story and what's just a piece of paper. But
what you can guarantee is it's all racist.
Not the movie.
The movie was not.
No, the movie is very much updated.
But Lovecraft.
Yeah. All of his actual writings, real bad.
So this one was updated. This was what was it? Richard Stanley, I think, was the director.
Yeah, and he hasn't done anything since the mid '90s when he was gonna do the Island of Dr. Moreau with
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer.
Yep.
Yes. And he ended up having so much production problems. It was his first like big Hollywood movie that he got fired. And there's a good documentary about this where he actually dresses up as one of the like crazy weird animal hybrid things and sneaks back onto the set.
Nice.
After he was fired.
What?
But then he swore off all Hollywood and hasn't made anything
big. He's made some like smaller stuff.
Some extremely small stuff for the past 30 years.
Jesus.
So this is his first like new thing in a very long time. The pre-show at the Alamo actually had a bunch of clips of his old like good stuff.
Yeah.
And it was also super weird back then, but it was all like early 90s, late 80s. And then he made The Color Out of Space out of nowhere, and I had such like low hopes for this movie because it was like from the producers of Mandy.
And usually when they say producers,
but not the director, not the writer, not like anyone that made Mandy what it is. It was like Elijah Wood,
which is fine.
Fine.
He definitely put his name on a lot of crazy stuff.
And boy, was this crazy.
Yeah.
It got super good reviews.
Like 84%.
Yes.
On Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
For a Nick Cage $6 million budget Lovecraft adaptation.
Okay.
And it was way better than my expectations.
Yeah. It was about an hour and 51 minutes.
111 minutes? 111 minutes.
Yeah, an hour and 51 minutes.
Oh, an hour and 51. For some reason, I thought you were like 151 minutes.
No,
that was
it was
way
not
shorter than that.
It was not 2.5 hours long.
A little under 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It dropped a lot of like if you're into Lovecraft and know like Cthulhu mythos stuff, see it. It's absolutely the best Lovecraft movie that has ever been made.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to do like cosmic horror on like a visual, like in a movie setting, because obviously like the plot of this movie, like it starts with like, you know, a meteorite coming, and it's like a color that you can't even describe, but you have to show a color in a movie, right?
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things. They're like, oh, it's a bright pink thing, and then they're like, it was like a bright pink or purple. I said, I can't even describe what color. And so it's like one of those weird things, but they do a pretty competent job with that translation.
Okay.
Between mediums. Yeah. Nick Cage makes choices.
Yeah.
And that's what we're there for.
Everyone starts going crazy.
Yeah.
Like it might be something in the water. There's this water table guy that's, you don't really see the full shirt, but in the center you can see like Taconic University, and it's clearly like he's from Miskatonic University.
Okay.
He's a student. They mention Arkham, Massachusetts, because this takes place in like the woods, like west of Arkham.
Oh, okay.
He's like fairly self-sufficient and like off the grid, and so it still work. It's not like, even though they modernized it, it still works in being like fairly secluded and on his own. Like
okay.
So
yeah. It went places. It's like this farm and then like this family, and everyone's going crazy in these weird different ways. Like the daughter's like kind of like weird witchcraft. That's what it like opens with. And like a reference to like her mom that has cancer, but her mom's like a high powered like investment fund manager or something like that. But as they all start going crazy, she's losing clients, and the dad's obsessed with his alpacas. Nick Cage, alpacas star of the show.
Yeah. Yes.
And then it just starts going into like some crazy good practical effects, like a la The Thing.
Yeah.
And then some weird time distortion. Chong is in this movie as like a weird like squatter guy that gets really high all the time, but he's really into and like knows what's happening. Like only he understands what's really happening here. Then there's like the crazy evil like mayor or something that wants to turn this whole area into like a dam to feed water to like half the East Coast or something like that. And then the color out of space just starts mutating everything and is great. And
he did a great job with just all the visual elements in the game, like the atmosphere, like
or movie.
What
you said game.
Oh,
you did.
Sorry, my bad. In the movie, it was like there's fog everywhere. There's like how the trees look; they feel like ancient. They when color starts mutating things, like you see it slowly and gradually, but it is very well done.
Like it starts with a flower here or there, and then like by the end, it's just like this weird alien landscape.
Okay.
I was all in for this movie for like the first 90%, and when shit really goes off the rails at the end, I was just like, okay, now it's just like, and so it's all right, and then it ends, and then it's thankfully the end craziness isn't that long.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like when it really starts going nuts is kind of where it loses me.
Did you saw Lighthouse with us, right?
I saw Lighthouse.
Like
the very
end, like that sort of
like real off the rails.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is it in relation to Mandy? So, because I watched Mandy.
Mandy is better.
Oh, that's not a good sign for me.
Mandy is a better movie overall, in my opinion. But only because that last like 15% of Color Out of Space.
I would say,
and Mandy is weirder.
Mandy is definitely a lot weirder.
Yeah,
I would say this is more palatable. Like especially because you at least enjoy like some of the mythos that we've like.
Yes.
So then I would say at least
Mandy is weird for like 70% of the movie.
Mandy was weird from start to finish. There was never a not weird part of Mandy. I spent that entire movie just slowly repeating, what the fuck? What the fuck?
There's much less that in here.
Okay.
About halfway through the movie, stuff starts really going hard with the weirdness.
Yeah.
And you can tell, and Nick Cage acting choices, but you can tell when like Nick Cage is going crazy, but he has like two personalities.
Yeah.
And one personality is very distinct. And then he kind of switches back into like normal dad mode, and then kind of goes back into like crazy, very distinct, crazy personality.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. It was real good.
Okay. So there's your movie minute. That was several minutes.
My favorite review I saw is someone gave it 3.5 alpacas out of 4.
Nice.
Great.
Those alpacas are very core to the story.
Do you even know how much they cost the family? It's everything.
What's more important, the alpacas or the wife's clients?
Maybe the alpaca. I mean, they milk those alpacas.
They milk them.
Literally.
Literally.
Yes. And I did like the Miskatonic water table guys, like kind of grounding of the story.
Oh yeah,
which
definitely
was well appreciated.
Yep.
Okay.
The end was weird, too weird, but a very good Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Someone that's seen a bunch of Lovecraft and played a bunch of Lovecraft games, like I could tell these are the stages of the campaign that you're running, and it's not going so hot at the end there, everyone.
Yeah. I want to say even Paul, he's dragged himself to multiple like horror movies and like things like this that he's always just like, no, fuck that, like Midsummer, Lighthouse, and he even enjoyed. So you said like 15%. For him, it was like the last 25% of the movie. It started to lose him, but he enjoyed the first 75%.
Okay.
Smells like something died down there. Yeah. That's probably because something did. Go away from it. Stop.
Quinn wasn't there to save him, man.
No.
And I've heard that he's going to be making the Dunwich Horror now too.
Yes,
so.
He started writing the next one.
I mean, Can we just ask that just Nick Cage just keeps appearing? I think that would be best for the franchise.
yeah. I'm sure Nick Cage is all in.
Yeah. He's got to pay off that tax man.
I'm looking forward to see how much money this movie makes on its fairly small release.
Yeah.
But it was only a $6 million movie. It's got pretty good reviews. Alamo's only running like one show a day.
But it was packed when
it
we
was
went
sold
there.
out.
Huh.
Yeah.
Right on. So for banter stuff, anything else you guys got going on that you want to chat about? I just figured the movie would be something that you were excited about, and I was curious if it's worth watching other than...
I would definitely say if your brother buys it on Vudu at some point, because I think it's actually coming out like at the end of the month or something.
Yeah, he almost certainly will.
Then I would say watch it.
It was supposed to be one of those like quick, it's never going to make much money, released in theaters, but it was actually, they made a good movie.
Yeah.
So.
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, they released in January, so who's to say?
And it was real pretty.
Yeah.
And fucked, man.
Well,
Haunting.
anyway, my big bit of banter is the obvious news that I'm going to Japan.
What?
Yeah, I know.
You're just telling us now?
What the fuck, man?
I know, right?
At least tell me this is like in 6 months.
No, I leave. I leave in less than 36 hours.
Are you just dumping a big bag of food on the floor for Jester and
correct and hoping for the best
and leaving
that's good.
The faucet on?
Well, I mean, what I know about dogs is moderation,
especially Jester. She doesn't have impulse control problems at all.
No. She eats she's like, I'm gonna have 56 pieces, and then that will be enough.
No, we got a bunch of friends who are bouncing her around. I wrote a big long email. Well, thankfully, they've all watched her, so they all know what they're in for.
Yeah.
Which was huge. Because it's like, you don't want to just dump a ball of Jester on somebody who doesn't expect it.
That is very true, yeah.
But she apparently she's a saint when she leaves this house and stays with other people. Everyone who watches her raves about how awesome she is. And then we're like, what?
I'm trying to think.
Are you sure?
I'm trying to think what the common denominator is between her not being here and her being here. I don't know. I can't think. I'll report back on it later.
Okay. But the main thing I want to talk about is not so much going to Japan, which I do want to talk about because it's awesome. And I'm going to start a Adrian in Japan channel on the Slack for the next 2 weeks so that I can contain most of my exuberance there. So if you're interested in following my escapades in Japan, you can join that channel. Otherwise, you shouldn't have to see much of it. Unless occasionally something spills over into snow sports or board games. If I find a good Japanese board game, maybe I'll talk about it in board games. Anyway, the thing that's fucking frustrating me is a bunch of snowboarders who I follow on YouTube all went to Japan the last couple of days, and they've been getting amazing snow. And I've been checking the resort, the forecast. Mm-hmm. So I just want to share here. So the forecast from a couple days ago was, let me pull it up. I did not have this completely prepared. So we're going to be at our first resort from the 2nd through the 5th. So the snow report 3 days ago was nothing on the 2nd, nothing on the 3rd, 2 inches on the 4th, 5 inches on the 5th, which would be our half day. We're checking out of the hotel that day, and then we have to get down to our next hotel in a different town. But then on Thursday the 6th, 10 inches of snow. Friday the 7th, 7 inches of snow. So 17 inches on the 2 days after we left the resort. So that was 3 days ago, or 2 days in the past. And then yesterday, I checked the report, and it was the 2nd, the day we start there, is 1 inch. The 3rd is 3 to 5. The 4th is 10 inches, and then the 5th is 3 inches. And I was like, fuck yes, the snow total's moved up. That's amazing. I literally just refreshed it while you guys were talking about your movie, and now it's back to the 2nd is no snow, the 3rd is no snow, the 4th is 2 inches, the 5th, when we're leaving, is 7 to 9, and then it's 6 on the 6th. And it's like, no, it's going the wrong way again. So it's like, they know that somewhere right around there's going to be a bunch of snow, and I just need it to go. I need the snow to come a little sooner and not later, because I want a lot of snow to snowboard in Japan.
It's still a pretty far out forecast, so
yes,
it will change significantly between now and then.
It's about a week out, yeah. So this is right around the time they really start dialing them in, though, so I expect over the next couple of days to get a good idea of whether I'm going to be, like, sorely disappointed at the... Because we were trying to, months ago, we were trying to plan, like, when do we want to snowboard, when do we not want to, like... And I immediately regret not just going and immediately snowboarding the one resort and then taking, like, a couple days to recuperate and then snowing the other, or riding the other one and then leaving. Instead, we're going there, we're spending like 4 or 5 days in Tokyo doing Tokyo things. Then we go to one resort to ride. Then we get on a plane, go back, have one night in Tokyo, go to the next resort and ride, which is cramming all that riding a little bit close. And so we're going to be tired.
You're going to get like just one lap at every, you just go in. All right. Oh, this is the best. All right, let's go and go to the next one.
there at the end, it's probably going to be a lot of that, especially because we didn't get any good, like, big snow days this season, so we definitely don't have our deep powder legs, which, as Jeff can attest from the one time we were like, hey Jeff, let's go ride deep powder.
I was like, okay.
Like a dumbass.
I'm an idiot.
You know how to do that, right, Jeff? You've been snowboarding for a month.
Yeah.
Is there any chance, like, say you go to one place and you're like, fuck going to that other place, we're just gonna stay here?
No.
Okay.
Because unfortunately the pass we have, I mean, lift tickets are pretty cheap, so in theory we might have enough money to just do that, but we'd have to start paying daily lift tickets. On the pass we have, you get 5 consecutive days at one resort and 5 consecutive days at another resort. So you can't even, like, bounce back and forth to use up your 5, which we couldn't do anyway because they're, a 2-hour plane ride apart.
Right.
But, no. To answer your question, no, that's not really likely. Plus, a lot of the places that we've reserved don't have good cancellation policies to where we can just cancel, on short notice. Because I even wanted to switch when I saw that the snow was coming later, because our plan is we're going to land in Sapporo, and then we're going to go to the ski resort for a few days. Then we're going to be back in Sapporo for like 2 nights for the ice festival. I wanted to see if we could call the hotels and swap. And Megan was like, no, there's no way. I was like, I don't know. Japanese people are unfailingly polite. They basically don't ever say hard no's in Japan, from what I've been reading. It's like, so we should try it. And she's like, no.
Seems to me like you should have just booked all your shit now. Then you would have had the perfect plan.
Yes, and I'm sure it would have been...
It'd have been fine.
Sure, yeah, there would have been no massively more... I mean, that was part of the choices we made, is like, when could we find affordable lodging at some of these places? So...
Well, you just don't find affordable lodging. Just find inaffordable.
Yeah.
Unaffordable. That's the better word.
That's the real word.
Yeah, it's better.
So, but yeah, so hoping that the snow comes a bit early, because
Bowers. Yep.
But yeah, hoping the snow comes a bit early for our Risutsu trip. Holy shit, the videos those guys are sharing on YouTube, though. It's like 4 different snowboard guys that I follow from various places, all just kind of met up in Japan, like, together. And it's like, I should have went a week earlier.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
I could have stalked them.
Gotcha.
And they would have liked me because I have my cool Viking hat. And I also do social media video making stuff, sort of. Not as good as them, though.
Seems right.
They're better in every app. They're better at the social media. They're better at the videos. They're better at the snowboarding. They're better at everything. But anyway.
I think that's good for banter.
That's my banter.
All
okay,
right.
Cool. So we don't have a Bloody Minute, I assume, because the season's done.
No, we have the Bloody Minute.
Yeah, that's the championship.
The goddamn championship.
No.
No.
I could have sworn we fucking talked about it.
No.
Oh my God. All right.
No.
Bloody Minute time.
No.
You also know we have King of Death after that.
Yes,
right?
I know. I'm not happy.
So,
Right. Bloody Minute it up.
the 9th season championship happened between Ant and I. I had a 420k inducement because I had taken a miss next game on a sidestep skink at 80k and a plus strength block guard Saurus, which was my star player in my previous game. So thankfully I had just enough inducements to I hired a mercenary Saurus, which is an extra 30k. So he was 110, and then it's an extra 50 for a skill. So I was able to get a mercenary loner Saurus with block for a mere, let's say, 160k.
That seems cheap.
No, it's not at all. And then I had just enough to get Sleebly, which is a recently retired star player that has plus move, block, guard, grab, and stand firm, and is a Saurus, as well as loner. He's one of the only or very few only guard star players in the game period. So it was nice to be able to actually get my 4th guard back up. So I had 7 Saurus against Ant's almost 2 mil team with his Blodge, Bloodthirster, and a bunch of
bullshit.
Corn champions, and thankfully his armor's fairly low. His demons are only armor 7, and the champs and everything else are 8, and the big guy's 9. So started the game off with our big guys just really shit in the bed the whole game. You have to roll a 2+ to be able to use these guys. On his Bloodthirster, you need a 4+ if you're doing anything but hitting. So he has to blitz or block to get a 2+. But fun fact, he was able to hit me all the time with him. So, but we really just my Crocs in the first half rolled a 1 5 of the 7 times I tried to activate him.
Jesus.
Yeah. And it wasn't just he was in a good position and I fucked up by activating him and turning him bonehead. It was no, he was on the ground or no one was near him, or I just needed to move him to be near someone and he was just rolling 1s. And he spent 2 turns on the ground rolling 1s, and he was basically just trash the whole game. His Bloodthirster didn't have much better luck. I think he failed 3 of 5 activations with him. And in our first half, we got a riot on the first kickoff, which if you haven't taken a turn yet, the refs let the clock roll as the riot happens, so you lose a turn. So there was only 7 turns in the first half. I was able to surf one of his pit fighters into a serious injury. That's just general lineman. And then I was able to KO one of his heralds, which is kind of his blitzer equivalent, in the 4th turn. 5th turn, Thirster Wild Animals again. Pit fighter skulls himself. My Crocs had boneheaded 3 times by now. I was able to KO his plus agility Bloodletter, so that was real nice. So it would be harder for him to move the ball. And then my skink failed to pick the reroll up. To pick the ball up on a reroll. Turn 6. Thirster, Wild Animals again. There was a 2-die uphill into the clusterfuck to surf a skink, which ended up with my skink hitting a miss next game, so that skink was out for the rest of the game. I surfed another Herald, which is his blitzer equivalent. He only has 2 into reserves. Got the skink pickup, ran into the corner to try and score late, because at this point I had 4 KOs. So I only wanted to give him 1 chance to be able to get those back in. He had to do some real crazy dodges and uphill blitzes to mark the ball, which he successfully made me lose the ball in turn 8 with a 1-die. And I had to throw a 1-die blitz and got the skull. He got 3 of his 4 KOs came back, and then my Crocs ended up failing the 5 of 7 for the Boneheads. And that was was me on a defensive, almost got a defensive touchdown in the first half. Second half, things got real hot and heavy. Our dice started to warm up slightly. I received, failed a handoff, picked up the handoff in the second turn, got a bunch of his guys on the ground, blitzed his guy with my Crocs. In turn 5 of the second half, I ended up KOing his Bloodthirster.
Nice.
Which was going to be key for the rest of the game because at the end of the second half, we ended up 1-1 and going into overtime.
Bum, bum, bum.
I had done enough damage. He had a deep bench. He had like 14 players, and I got just enough off with KOs and casualties to where we had 10 on 10 in overtime. Overtime, no rerolls. You don't get a refresh on rerolls. You just play until someone scores. I won the coin flip and received.
Nice.
But boy, it was a cluster on that overtime. It was one die roll away from either me winning or him winning. He ended up going through the center of my line into the back by the ball and ended up double sculling.
Oh no!
With him right on the ball. Thankfully, he ended up sculling or failing a dodge or some other die roll and just immediately turning back over. Because if I didn't double skull, I was going to wipe him off the ball and run it down. And if he didn't turn over, he was going to wipe me out and get the ball and run me over. And his Bloodthirster didn't come back in from the KO. And then my dice just went red fucking hot. I knocked out 8 of 10 in 3 turns.
Nice.
Jesus.
And I almost pitch cleared him.
Oh my God.
He had 2 left on the. I was super safe with the ball because he had 3 guys left versus my 8 or 9 at that point. And I caged up the ball on the sideline with a sidestep skink, so even if he got hit, I'd be able to sidestep out. And I was just so scared of this other guy, I just ran up and fouled him with a skink. I got banned, but I knocked him out.
Nice.
And I was just like, woo! Leaving him with 2 on the pitch, me in scoring range, and I ran in and won the championship.
There you go. You finally won, Jeff.
Yes, I finally won.
From being... go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
from being the namesake of the bottom of the league trophy, the Jeffy,
Yes.
to league champ. I can't wait for the ESPN 30 for 30.
My original record with my humans in the first 3 seasons, I won 1 preseason game, and I didn't win a single game until my first game of its 3rd season.
Jesus.
It was all ties or losses.
Is it because of the humans or...
Humans, and then I got on a roll of a lot of guys taking miss next games. I was missing my ogre over and over. My ogre had plus strength, but he just kept doing nothing or missed next game, and I would just run off inducements with no big guy on humans, which is pretty rough. But I think in that 3rd season, I made the playoffs, and I've sort of been playoffs or contention ever since.
Finally got good scrub.
I just got the right rolls. I mean, I've had to battle through Phil through like 90% of my fucking playoff games, and it seems like he wins everything. So we've had the last 2 seasons for the first time.
Not be him.
Not
or
be
him
or Ant. Last season it was Jeff with the Dark Elves, and then this season it was Jeff with the Lizards.
Yeah, it's fucking Jeff on Jeff.
Yeah. Ant, Jeff, or Phil are the only champions.
Yeah.
Different Jeffs, but, same name.
Still name. Does he spell it the correct way at least?
He does spell it the correct way, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
No G-offs.
No G-offs.
You gonna play an Edge team next season?
No, I'm probably going to play Dwarves.
So like anti-Edge.
Yeah. Yes. I'm so tired of Dark Elves. I just want to play something with tackle and just murder them. I kind of want to play a foul team too, though, but it's
Be a foul dwarf team. I'm sure that'll be fine.
No, there's 70k pieces, so I was running it pretty hot when I was fouling with skinks a lot, so...
That's amazing. So May just chimed in on chat. When I first started listening to MHGG, I recognized Jeff's voice as the guy who sounded sad while talking about Blood Bowl.
I don't think... No, and in the last 3.5 years, it's certainly turned around, but I don't remember when it turned around.
Yeah.
Because
you do multiple Blood Bowl seasons in a year, though, right?
Yeah, it's only like 14 weeks for regular season because it's set like 7 games, 2 weeks per game. So, and then like another 6 weeks for championships, 2 weeks for each of the 3 rounds. And this one was 4 because larger champion or larger playoff pool, and then like the higher seeds got the bye week. So there was an extra whole round for the playoffs.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We did a Sweet 16 instead of a Elite 8.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, congratulations on your championship, Jeff.
Yeah.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Absolutely. And it was a game that was not filled with bullshit in any way, shape, or form.
That's good.
We both rolled terrible. And even Ant was like, "Yep, I just lost fair and square." It was close the whole time.
Yeah.
Stressful.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, right on. With that wrapping up the Bloody Minute, we can move over to a Kingdom Death Hour.
So this session, we didn't get that far. We went from like year 15 to it's the end of year 18. But we did a lot more fighting because one year we had like two fights in 1 year with the Manhunter and Nemesis.
Yeah.
So we started off, we were trying to figure out what we wanted to fight because we haven't played since like November.
Yeah,
So
it's been a while.
It's been a while because of the holidays and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, we could hunt the Dragon King, right? He's in this.
Which feels weird. I will always say it feels weird because the Tyrant is like the Dragon King's human form, that he's the one like lording over us, literally.
Yeah.
And so it feels weird that you can be like, all right, well, as human form, we'll just leave you around, but as dragon form, we'll go kill you.
I wonder if it's just different dragons?
Different Dragon Kings. Maybe that's just a species and not.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the Dragon King.
Yes, maybe. Or at least the one we worship. So it was our first time ever fighting the Dragon King. We did a level 1 because we were like, oh, what do we want to make? And I was like, let's go for the Dragon King, see what we can get from him. It was nice fighting a new quarry.
So, and he is 4x4 on the board.
The largest of any of the monsters.
Yeah. The regular, like the Butcher, the Hand, they're like 2x2. And then you have the bigger ones like the Gorm and the Phoenix, they're 3x3. And so we assumed the Tyrant or the Dragon King was.
We did not all assume. I was like, no, he's like a 4x4, and then I believe you came back with like, no, he's just a 3x3, and I was like, okay,
because I was like, 4x4 doesn't exist in this game.
I was pretty sure he was really big, because he's absolutely massive.
You're right.
The mini for him is also absolutely massive. So his thing is he's all about like nuclear and irradiation and heat and magma and fucking blowing all your junk off.
Yeah, because basically his heart is just like a mini sun, more or less.
Inside a chest sphincter.
Yeah, a chest sphincter. That eventually, as he starts like irradiating it enough, eventually he will melt down and it will just destroy like half the board.
Literally everything that is in front of him in infinite direction, right, left, and forward, will be blown away in a like wave of disintegration or something like that. So all of his a lot of his hit locations have irradiate as what he does, but every time he irradiates, he gets a minus toughness. His toughness is generally higher on average than a normal quarry.
Yeah.
Like a normal quarry level 1 is like toughness 8. His is toughness 13. It's because he gets like up to minus 5 on his toughness because of these irradiate.
And it's basically like his chest sphincter is loosening up.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Gets real warm.
Yeah, and then because it literally says after you finish the meltdown, it just clenches back up.
His chest sphincter clenches back closed.
Yep.
The first time we fought him, we didn't have to deal with his meltdown. We were able to stop that in various ways. He has his trap card is very interesting.
Yeah,
it's Starbound.
It's basically a cosmic uppercut.
Yes, you are sent into a space with no sound and very dark. AKA, he punches you into space. And a turn later, on the start of the survivor's turn, you will finally hit back you will finally land with a thud on the ground.
And I just want to say, throughout all of our encounters with him, every time he did that, he only needed after the first time.
Yes.
After the first time we saw the trap, every time after, no matter how many dice he rolled, they all missed except for one. And you're doomed, so you can't dodge it. So he just got the one hit, but it was like a 9 or a 10 each time. So
yeah.
Nobody had enough evasion to dodge it, so he just boom.
Usually it was sometimes it was only a 9 or 10 that would hit.
Yeah,
there was always that one that would send you skyward.
Yes.
So that was interesting. Overall, not like the worst trap
Nope.
that I've seen in the game. So we kind of smushed him pretty fast. We went to the next event. The next year, we got the Elder Council, and this is the first time the Elder Council was really impactful because we actually had retired characters.
Yep.
The Elder Council can actually bring back that retired character, and it's mandatory, which was nice because it was my really sweet club person that came back, and we had to do the Manhunter level 3. The Manhunter has 4 levels. If everyone remembers, we did the Manhunter level 1, but he had all of his level 4 skills shuffled into his deck. That was with the wonderful spike trap that you stop with your teeth. So we made pretty good work of the Manhunter level 3 in this one.
Yeah, we were able to avoid his just whirlwind of just destruction.
Destroy all the terrain within a fairly significant distance. And for as many terrain, or for each terrain he destroys in that way, he gets +1 speed. So he can get up to +6 speed with that, rolling
4 or 5 damage.
Yeah.
So
each.
It's pretty ridiculous. We were able to avoid that, and then we were hitting him. He kept staking people.
Yeah, so his stakes got added in. There was 4 of them. Basically, you needed to roll a D10 and add your evasion, and you had to roll over 8, and then you could avoid it. Otherwise, you took a bunch of damage.
Yeah, and even when he got knocked down and we were just wailing on him, he'd just be like, I'm taking damage, stake right to the face.
Surprise stake.
Yep.
I think the highlight is when you used your whip and you got a crit. And you broke his trigger finger, so you hit him in the finger, and he's like, with your whip.
Yep.
So all of his gun actions were at minus.
But then we kept doing damage and getting rid of gun actions, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah, and we just basically pummeled him to death by then. So that special showdown happens kind of in the middle of the settlement phase. So then we went back, finished the settlement phase, and then we got to choose. I think it's the first time I can remember where I've been able to just be like, we're going to go fight a nemesis of our choice.
Yes, because in the timeline, whatever it's called, it usually sets hey, you're fighting these nemesis at this time. So Butcher on Butcher level 1, year 4, Slender Man at 6, etc.
Yeah,
this one was just
choose
nemesis
level 2. So we decided to go for the Butcher. Paul had an Axe Master, and we had a Butcher Cleaver already, and you can actually pair them to dual wield them. So we went for the Butcher again, and we almost all died. Because the Butcher, even though he's the very first nemesis, he still super sucks.
Yeah. Both you and Thursby had 4
of 5 bleeding tokens.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit 5, you're
dead.
You're dead.
Yeah.
You've bled out, and it's all over.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we were able to get him killed before any major damage happened with anyone. And also, this was I don't remember if the Elder went back into retirement. I think after the
you brought your
Manhunter,
your main character.
Yeah. So and then we end up getting that second cleaver, which we brought out on the next year. In the next year, we got our story event for the Dung Beetle Night, the Black Harvest. I don't remember if we talked about it, but with the Dung Beetle Night, you have resin crafting, and you can make these really cool things. But if you bury it in the ground for 4 years and then
dig them
die roll and dig it back up, they're way better.
Yeah. So one of them's a shoulder pad that's +1 to all hit locations. But if you put it in the ground for 4 years and you grab it, then it becomes +3 to each of the hit locations.
Which is absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
We also got a crit on the Dung Beetle Knight in his sword hit location, and so we got his regeneration sword that we were able to bury, and it was broken, and then it becomes a really awesome grand weapon, and Thursday was going for the big grand weapon. Imagine Cloud, Final Fantasy VII, huge, massive sword.
Buster sword, yeah.
Yeah, anime swords, level big.
Mm-hmm.
They only have 1 speed, but are super awesome when they hit.
It basically, as long as you hit, you're going to wound.
Yes.
Because his has 9 strength, and then for every token he has, he gets an additional strength.
Bleeding tokens, negative stat tokens, plus stat tokens, all tokens give him plus, which is pretty cool. So then we decided to go, after we got our gear and things, we went back for Dragon King level 1. We found a crypt of old Dragon Kings that you can loot up to 3 dragon resources, but each one that you do gives him plus speed, plus damage, and then like an additional was it smoldering? What was the it was like a mood
overheat or something.
Overheat, yeah. So we did all of those. So we basically fought a level 1, aka level 2 Dragon King.
Well, especially because we accidentally added his level 3 smoldering trait.
Which means he irradiates at the beginning and end of every turn.
Yeah.
Which is bad.
Yep.
That was our
first meltdown.
That was our first meltdown, but he kind of did it into a corner and didn't hit anything with it.
He basically was attacking Thursby, and then it caused him to turn around and run away to the side, and then that caused him to do his meltdown and hit literally one row of the entire game board because he was just right at the edge, and we're like, oh, that was great.
Yeah. So we finished murdering him.
Yep. Realized our mistake at the end that card should not have been there.
Yes. And then we made me some of my first armor pieces in a long time.
Got him dragon armor.
Got me a dragon helm and dragon boots. I had no armor on my chest, legs, or waist, so I was basically naked from neck to like knees. And I had a robe on.
Yeah. With a giant hammer.
With a big hammer. No, it was I have the whistling mace, so it's like a chain.
Oh my god,
whistling
that makes
hammer.
so much more sense now.
Yeah. So then we go straight into just killing some more Dragon Kings. Dragon King level 2 this time, legit level 2. And we had the choice of getting the crypt loot again, which would give him an additional speed and an additional damage and overheat mood. We decided not to do that time because
that was the correct decision.
Because he would have plus 2 speed, plus 2 damage, and overheat. All bad decisions. So we didn't make those bad decisions. This one was a lot longer and harder because he has higher toughness 17. So he only becomes like easier to wound when he has like higher irradiation. And what irradiate does is you take monster level damage to it's how much his minus toughness tokens from his irradiate to monster level hit locations.
So the first level 1, it was just like say he had 2 of them, 2 damage to 1 location. Now it's say he had 3 of them, that's 3 damage to 2 locations,
and then 4 damage to 2 locations, and 5 damage to 2 locations.
It wouldn't be 5 because 5 turns into meltdown.
Yes, but yeah, that's true.
But yes, no, it's definitely adding that. Just definitely it made it a lot worse.
Yes, and it was harder to wound him. And Thursby was rolling like shit with his fucking grand weapon and just not hitting or not wounding and just whiffing. I was barely doing any damage to him until the very end.
There was one instance where you hit yourself 3 times with your whistling mace.
The whistling mace on ones will hit myself for 1 damage to a random hit location.
Great.
But the Dragon King was doing so much damage to me that I was going to quickly start taking severes, which I did.
You did, yeah.
With my misses from my whistling mace, which I took a severe to the junk, which we all know what happens.
Because if you remember, he is naked except for thigh-high boots and a helmet.
Yep.
So that right to the junk is prime destroy genitals territory.
Prime, which is exactly what happened.
But luckily, you had Unbreakable.
Yes, Unbreakable lets you just take a random disorder.
So his junk just took it.
Yeah. Instead of taking a severe injury.
That gave you post-traumatic stress, didn't you?
I got PTSD from
almost whistling mace to the dick.
From almost winging my ding dong off.
Yep.
We also had our official first meltdown
that hit 3 people.
4 people.
Oh, that's right, because
so it hits directly behind him and every space in front of him. So Thursby caused it by standing directly behind him, failing, being knocked down, and then everyone in front of him got the charging my lasers and shooped-a-whooped out of existence.
Our whoops got shooped.
Yeah. Boy, did they ever. So there's a fun thing that happens. He destroys all terrain because it's a massive, massive blast. And then everyone's knocked down, and then everyone gets to roll on a fun table that is like the disintegration table. And I don't think you can die from it, but like
I mean, you can die from the wounds, but
you can die from the wounds because you take a bunch of damage, which we all survived, and then you roll on a table. Like a 1 through 4 is like ruptured muscles, like your blood boils so much that it bursts your arm, and
this normally kills the human.
Yeah. No, this is just ruptured muscles.
Yeah, it's just fine. Yeah.
What happened to you?
I looked into the beam, and the thought of him screaming, like his heart screaming,
He stared into the sun,
Yeah.
so he gained blinded.
Yeah,
I rolled a 10.
you did.
It's like I just tucked and rolled out of the way of this massive, unavoidable beam.
You know what you did? It's just parkour.
Yeah, hardcore parkour.
Yep.
And actually, you can gain the acrobatics skill if you roll a 10 because you were so good at dodging the laser.
Yep.
I don't remember what the other one was, but I think we got a sample of what all of them.
Yeah. Well, and I remember the fight before this when he missed his meltdown. He immediately turned around and did a nuclear blast on everybody. That luckily it gives you an option to dodge, or to dash away. So everyone immediately is like, "Oh, I'm just gonna run away from where he's shooting."
Yeah, the meltdown there's no avoiding, but the nuclear blast at least you can get out of the way.
Yeah. But that one I ended up dying from.
Yes, right at the end.
Right at the end, it just kept hit me in my waist and chest, and then he just
You took a ton of severe injuries already.
Yeah.
You had taken at least 2 and not died.
Yeah. And my junk was destroyed long ago
Yes,
in the game.
your junk was destroyed.
And then eventually did Paul get punched in the chest to death, or
No one else died. Oh,
Okay.
yes. He definitely took a bunch because he was going to get destroyed back, which he had to use Unbreakable for. But what he had to use his Unbreakable for, when you use Unbreakable, you take a random disorder. He got one of the worst disorders, like a cryptophobia or something. It has to do with math. And so that resets your movement value to a D5 roll. Your movement is normally 5. So you roll a D10. Divide by 2. And that's your new movement. Paul rolled a 2.
Yep.
Fucking Paul.
Paul's movement on his amazing Axemaster is now 2.
Yep.
He has to get enough random disorders to be able a 4th random disorder, which will then let him replace a previous disorder. He had no disorders at all, so he still needs 3 more disorders that I don't even know how we're going to give him because he's going to be useless if we take him out on any sort of hunt.
Yeah, sounds like he's dead.
Sounds to me
us
like
now.
we should send him out to the throne. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. He can maybe repair his destroyed genitals or something. Yeah. Or cut his head off and throw it down the steps.
Cool.
Yeah. So now we've talked about like what we want to play after this, and we were looking at a bunch of different campaigns for after. Like once we finish this campaign, because we have like 6 left to do, and then that's 6 more years. And we're very looking like there's one about all being swordsmen, and then we're all ageless, but then we can't repopulate. So there's just 7 swordsmen that we have, but then once they die, they just die, and it's just it. That's just it. And you just keep going until you run out of people. So
they'll never retire. But
interesting.
But if they get bad disorders, that's like, well, we got to use them because there's only 7 of them. We don't have a choice.
Yep. Yeah.
And there's another one with bone-related stuff that you get a bunch of permanent stat upgrades, but you can only ever use bone gear.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
But that's it for our Kingdom Death Hour.
Indeed.
Indeed it is, which brings us over to some news and Kickstarters, I believe.
Yes. First up in news, they announced this a little while ago, but Clash of Cultures details are out for all of its wonderful new Monumental Edition.
Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit over on the Slack because Paul went through all the trouble to get everything for Clash of Cultures, and then they announced that they're going to do this whole big Monumental Edition.
Super fancy, awesome edition.
Yeah. So it's a new edition of the design. Includes the base game, the Civ expansion, the Aztecs expansion, new cover art, new graphic design, and miniatures for the 7 Wonders. But it's basically...
But it's also WizKids, so what are those minis gonna be?
Yeah. Well, and I think they're for like the actual 7 Wonders, so like the pyramid will be just a fucking pyramid.
Quality-wise.
I mean, it's going to be a hunk of plastic.
Yeah.
Like, it's not...
And a poorly painted hunk of plastic.
Yeah. And I want to say, when we first talked about this on the Slack, the Aztecs expansion is like a promo expansion at best.
Yeah.
So it's like one board and like a couple cards, and that's about it.
Yeah. But basically, it's a Civ game. It's a big classic Civ game where you are a civilization and you're trying to build into a big empire. You explore surroundings, build cities, do research, conquer, all that standard 4X stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, this is and I mean, I know Paul and Boyd, when they played it at BGGCon, they liked it.
yeah.
I mean, it's been fairly well regarded, but it's also
$140
exactly
for the Monumental Edition.
Yeah.
for the game and an expansion and a mini expansion.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it depends on pretty much how much quality WizKids wants to put into it, because if the minis aren't like great or very good even, then it wouldn't be that much different than the original.
Right. Yeah, and that's even what some of the BGG comments here seem like, is this sounds like a reprint. I was under the impression there was a new edition.
I mean,
So.
it sounds like in the text here, like some of the expansions were already pretty hard to find, so it hasn't been,
Yeah.
available.
No,
Yeah.
it's definitely to make it available again, but also $140 feels like a lot, because right now it's like $100 to $200 to get like the base game, but that's because it's out of print. So it feels like a little bit, they're like, well, people are paying a lot of money for this game, so
We'll make them pay the same amount of money
Yeah.
as is available.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe more information to come as it gets closer. Maybe we'll actually figure out, if there's anything in it worth nearly double the price of the original game.
we'll see.
Or if they're just cheap, shitty plastic minis for the 7 Wonders and nothing else.
Who's to say?
Yeah. But Clash of Cultures Monumental Edition. So that's it for that. Next up on news.
Queen Games has a new game, Zen Garden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
New game. So 2 to 4 player tile laying game. Seems pretty straightforward. There's like a tile market. You go around the table and you take turns and you buy tiles from the tile market, and then you place them down into your garden. And so you're trying to build a garden with different paths and statues and flora and fauna and things like that. Your architect's working to build the most beautiful garden for the emperor. So it does mention something here about like paying attention to the emperor's preferences. So there might be some kind of a mechanism, like a deck of cards that would flip to indicate what the emperor is looking for, maybe like a starting set of variable scoring conditions kind of a thing. But yeah, looks like 5 preference boards that determine which features of the garden score in that game.
Gotcha.
So it'll be a little bit of a different.
Is that 5 total, or out of a bunch of ones you choose 5?
The quote here is the game comes with 5 preference boards. So it looks like it's an individual board that has all of the different things.
Gotcha.
And it even shows here in the picture. It shows like this one is like 15 times the different terrains, 30 times. Although that doesn't seem like that's point related. I don't know. Maybe it is. It does have.
No, that seems to be like what the composition of the different tiles is.
Yeah. So I don't see anything on this one actually that indicates what the. I don't know. I don't know what the Emperor tiles will look like. So.
Well, yeah. I'm curious to see how much differentiation like between the 5 are, because obviously for some game like this you want those differences. You want to be able to have it not get old.
Agree.
So.
But yeah, otherwise seems fairly straightforward. So who knows? Yeah, that's Zen Garden. Last up on news,
the wonderful people at Fantasy Flight have announced that the Blob That Ate Everything, which was a special Gen Con 2019 event that has been very, very popular, is now going to be hitting the masses, finally, after high demand of this very apparently cool scenario.
Yeah, so it's going to be a new standalone scenario pack that you can pre-order right now for an amount of money, and I forget that Asmodee makes you sign in to check pre-order prices.
Yes.
I would assume $19.95. I think that's what their scenarios are.
But so meteor impacts and a big blob is hatched that then goes around and gets bigger and bigger and devours everything. It's the blob that ate everything.
Yeah, and I know you can play this with like a lot of people.
Yeah, so the one hook in this is you just you can play it with as many players as you want, and then all of those players are separated into 4-player groups where everyone is attacking like the main blob enemy as like one big giant boss monster.
Yeah.
We should definitely do this at Geekway, I feel.
I'm sure someone will be hosting an event of that kind of sort.
But also, I know enough people in our Slack and fans that are going to Geekway.
You probably
We could play with at least 4 players.
Yeah. But yeah, whole bunch of stuff for it.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting little bit here in this article, which will be on the website, about like how they kind of came up with it.
Yeah, kind of the making of and just how popular it was.
Yep.
You can get it for a whole $20.
Nice. That's not too bad.
No.
So, The Blob That Ate Everything, coming to retail. Pre-order now.
It definitely seems like the coolest of the standalone from what I've heard a little bit of. Like, just most unique.
Which, I mean, it tracks the person here says, I wanted to do something special, something unique. So, there you go. Success. But, yeah, that wraps up news. So we can move over to some Kickstarters.
First up in the wide world of Kickstarters, we have Tortuga 2199. Very well funded. $79,000 of its $35,000 goal, over 1,200 backers. 2 weeks left still to go, where you can pledge this one for its most popular pledge being $79.
Yep. So Tortuga 2199 is the latest game from our sponsors, Gray Fox Games. They're not paying us to talk about it, but we do talk about their Kickstarters. I mean,
they're paying us to talk about it later.
Yeah, they'll pay us to talk about it later. But this part, they're not paying us for. So,
Fun fact, there's not a lot of Kickstarters going on right now.
Yeah.
Because there's 3 really big ones going on right now.
Also true. So in Tortuga 2199,
Space Pirates.
Yep. It's a deck building area control game for 2 to 4 space pirates. You build up your crew, you hunt monsters, and you try to become the best pirate you can be. Space pirate. So they got a whole bunch of information here, like backstory on the world here. But the main thing, if you scroll down, and so you have all these different sectors, and you are fighting to control the different sectors of the board, and what sectors you control determines like what kind of crew you can recruit and things like that to build up your deck. Because again, it's a deck builder, and
Yeah.
pretty straightforward in that regard.
What are you thinking about it, Jeff? Because we know how
you feel about deck builders.
Well, not just that. We know how much you were anticipating Gray Fox's last deck building area control S game.
The theme doesn't really grab me as much in this one.
Okay.
Space pirates doesn't grab you as much?
Really, I've never been in like a pirate, like, ooh, pirates are cool. Pirates are not cool.
Yeah. Pay for your... No.
That is incorrect.
Don't copy that floppy.
You wouldn't download a car, would you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%
If I could download a car and then the other person who had the car still gets to keep their car.
Yeah. That's the definition of win-win.
Yeah.
Now we both have a car, dude. It's great.
Where's my car, dude? So it does have like the area control portion of it where you're kind of moving all these ships together around. It doesn't seem like it's as asymmetric as something like War of the Worlds would be. So it's more based off of, the cards you buy and things like that. So I'm currently hesitantly positive.
What if I told you that all of the hexes are dual layer hexes and they have recessed areas to put things in?
I mean, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Recessed board areas?
Like
What?
if you go up like there.
I know.
Yeah. So gameplay looks fairly straightforward. Basically, on your turn, you're going to start the game with 5 cards in your hand. Or each turn, you start with 5 cards in your hand. Then during your turn, you play cards from your hand, doing the actions, standard deck builder stuff. Play cards are moved face up to your discard pile at the end of your turn. Again, standard deck builder stuff. Cards remaining in your hand are also discarded, standard deck builder stuff. And then you redraw to 5 cards. So you're just doing what the cards say. But available actions are things like playing cards, buying new cards, moving your spaceship, collecting minerals, things like that.
Hunting space creatures.
Yeah. You can reserve cards, destroy cards, capture creatures. What you capture, like creatures, and then you redeem the ones that you've captured later for other things.
Yeah.
They talk about how you conquer sectors, what they got like costs for how much it costs to conquer it, and where you put your control token, things like that, the names, and then you can reinforce it. You can attack each other's ships. They got rule books you can download. So yeah,
the rule book looks pretty well complete, but nothing's final.
I really do like the art for this. They've been leaking the art for a couple of weeks now, leading up to the launch of this Kickstarter. And I think they did do a pretty good job with some really cool kind of gritty sci-fi art.
Gritty sci-fi space pirates?
Yep, gritty sci-fi space pirates.
And weird space creatures.
Yes.
Like space krakens.
Space krakens, indeed.
Like weird cyborg space krakens. It's like someone put a robot suit on a giant squid.
Right.
That's another pledge level with a neoprene mat.
Ooh.
They sure love those.
Yeah.
Some people sure do. To be fair, some games they work really great for. I don't feel like it's necessary for this game, like with the big board that you're going to have in the center, but...
I mean, for right now, at least it looks like the mat is like a mat to put the board on. So it's like...
Exactly. It's kind of like getting a big mat for TI3. It's like, is that really necessary when you're just going to cover it with a big galaxy of tiles?
Yeah.
Okay, it has at least the outlines for like the cards and all that stuff at least. But it's... Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, this one doesn't seem as
just get
necessary.
A mat for your board game and then put the board game on the mat.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd like to try it. I've got too many other things I'm kickstarting right now.
But yeah, isn't there like they still do that thing of it's Gray Fox exclusive for all the Kickstarter stuff?
Yeah, so nothing's ever truly
Okay.
gone.
Yeah, it won't be available retail.
Yeah.
It'll be available only like directly through them at conventions and things like that.
And
Or
their
online.
website.
Yeah.
You
Or
can
on
order
their
it from their
website,
website. Because I know you can get the War of the Worlds like mini upgrades and stuff for $20.
Yes, but I
If
don't.
only you could get like half of those. Like the building ones were great. The other ones didn't. I felt like you didn't need them as much.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt the same way with the Downfall minis, airship minis. I'd rather have the cardboard ones.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Tortuga 21.99.
Yep.
Go check it out.
And next up on Kickstarter, we have Migration Mars. Very well funded, $82,000 of its $10,000 goal. Just over 1,900 backers. Still 3 weeks left to go on this one, and you can pledge it for a mere $54.
Yeah.
Let's see, get in real fast for some early bird.
Yes, which are still mostly available.
Mostly.
So anyway, Migration Mars, race to build the first human city on Mars, a tabletop game of strategy, decision making, and revenge. So
I like revenge.
yes, this is true.
I like me some piping hot revenge. I feel that it's.
Thought it was a dish best served lukewarm.
Like room temperature?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's a nice liquidy.
Not like
That's a
not
different
like,
revenge.
Not like weird vampire blood temperatures.
No. So anyway, this is a competitive sci-fi strategy game of resource collecting, colony building, and a bunch of other stuff that they throw out there that I'm not just going to read their blurb. It plays 2 to 4 players, takes 90 to 120 minutes, and basically you're trying to build up the best colony. And colonists are going to continue to come in from Earth. Apparently, like the longer the game goes on, the more colonists come in. And it's a race to be the first to get to whatever the set number of colonists for that game is, which is a little bit variable whether you want longer, mid, or shorter games. There's a shit ton of 3D pieces, almost 100 of them for all the different types of habitats that you build, like actually on the board. So it reminds me of like, there's Leaving Earth maybe is like a Civ building game on Mars.
Surviving Mars?
Surviving Mars. It reminds me of like the board game version of the video game Surviving Mars.
I can see that.
And Surviving Mars will have a version on Mars, actually. There will be a Surviving Mars branded from the game on Mars, Lacerda's game.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Interesting.
I saw that at PAX, I think.
Cool. So basically the way you're going to play is you're going to explore around the area to get different assets and things. So like you're trying to get to different resource deposits, things like that. as you move around on the different things. You get stone, metal, water to build up your colony that kind of builds out. The exploration stuff is just kind of a track around the outside of the board that you move around. So it makes it easy to kind of plan for, I guess, what kind of resources you'll get. But also that's dangerously close to roll and move, which is not great. They talk a little bit about side missions, but not a lot of information there. That they unlock like special super stuff, powerful buildings, rare crystals, and meteorites you can throw at your opponents. So, I always like Demo's down them.
Yeah.
They have a PDF of the rules. I haven't looked at it, but you can check it out.
It has rules in it.
Yeah.
It seems like the exploration die is more just like get population, get bonus resources. If you have a certain thing in ancient ruins, get blueprints, or like maybe take injury. But if you have a med pack. So there's a lot of mitigation for some of that die randomness.
Yeah. They've got a few things unlocked for stretch goals already. They got a custom asset card holder organizer, which is like a custom insert that's coming in the packaging. Ultra thick cards, added supply deck cards, and their next one coming up is going to be holographic / metal printing on the asset cards. And then more event cards, and then more special stuff, faction cards and things. Yeah. I don't know. I like the idea of building out, like kind of having like one of those RTS style build outs of your city, like having, putting different buildings in specific different hexes and things. So that looks interesting. Price is fairly reasonable at $44 for the current lowest pledge you can get.
Well, that's the super early bird, which will probably be long gone by Wednesday.
There's only 23 of them left. You can, if you find a buddy to go in, the you and a friend is $89, which is the 44 for each.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
Yeah,
it was down to $39 for the launch special.
Yeah, but I think that was gone in the first hour.
Yeah,
so yeah, but so
supposedly coming out this August. Only 8 months.
I hate the name Migration Mars.
People love alliteration.
I mean, Mars Migration would have been better than Migration : Mars.
Where are you seeing August? I see estimated delivery for
May 2020 is what I see for all of the estimated deliveries. So I don't know where you saw August either, Hefe.
Right here, where it says August delivery.
Well, that's weird. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, like on their page it says coming in August.
Estimated delivery on here is May. So.
Oh yeah, I think they may have.
This game's not coming out in May, I don't think.
No.
I mean, even their timeline here.
It says like tooling and production between April and June. So
yeah. Which it's interesting, their timeline goes back to 2017. For December of 2017, game conception, and then development, design application testing, prototyping, more testing, finished prototyping, more testing, play pattern, design.
At what point do you think we're going to get less Mars games? Do you feel like that's getting close?
I think we've got to be hitting the tail end of it.
Okay.
I thought we would have after like some real big bad ones came out.
Yeah.
That people wasted a bunch of money on.
No, that one was early. That was too early in the hype cycle.
I guess.
It couldn't kill the hype. That was when the hype was still building. And then there's been a lot of other good ones. Pocket Mars, Terraforming Mars, On Mars.
You cannot kill that which has no life. Like Mars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless you get that microbe card.
I was watching a cool video today about how if we find life on Mars, that's basically a really bad sign for humans, unless we can prove that it came from Earth. It has to do with like the Fermi paradox and great filters and things.
Yeah.
Like basically the more life we find that's like in our local system, the more it's like, well, okay, life clearly exists pretty easily in space, but we don't see advanced civilizations, which means there's a great filter somewhere ahead of us and we're fucked.
Yes.
So
unless we've gotten past it.
Yeah, unless we got past it.
Right, but the more like life we find,
yes.
that reduces that chance that we've gotten past it. It makes it more likely that it's ahead of it.
If we find some like dead aliens talking about Twitter or Twitch, then we know, oh shit, it could still happen.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. But if they're like, Friendster's the best and that's it, then we've made it past.
that was the filter.
That was the filter.
Like we got past the Friendster filter.
Yeah. Mark Zuckerberg. It's the
Anyway, Migration Mars. Go check it out. Next and last up on Kickstarter.
Next and last, we have Hero Forge 2.0. Full color miniatures. It's made a fuckload of money, over $1.9 million on its $42,000 goal. Over 23,000 backers. Just about 2 weeks left to go. You can pledge this one for its most reasonable pledge of $39.
Yeah.
And anywhere up to like infinity dollars.
So I was trying to see here. There it is. So MHGD, we went and did a bunch of custom
You can spend $10,000 to get 250 custom full-color 3D printed minis.
Oh, yeah. So Hero Forge has been doing good minis for a while. Like,
2 people have paid that amount of money.
For instance, like here's my guy. My paint job's not the best, but I got a sweet little custom Aarakocra monk for my new campaign. We all did. So they've been
you all
doing
got
stuff.
the Aarakocra monks.
No, we all got cool little minis, custom minis from Hero Forge. But the big thing here that's they have a great service. They constantly update it. Like they're always adding new shit. They have like a specific day for it. I just don't remember what it is. But the big thing here is they're announcing that they're going to start doing full color minis, which like when I first shared this in the Slack that I got the email about it, Paul was like, "What the fuck? Like, how are they going to do this? Like, that's like crazy cutting edge."
That means it's 3D color printed.
Yes.
So that means the printer itself is making the colors.
Yeah. Which is kind of bonkers. And like they go through and they show like all of the design and stuff behind it. Paul would like to point out they're doing it by purchasing $250,000 printers, which I mean,
That makes sense.
This has made almost $2 million.
Yeah.
So it's going to be probably pretty cost effective for them. But they also are completely retooling their design like interface for the website so that you can actually like color your minis yourself and, you know, kind of paint them. And they give a bunch of examples here about like the color printed miniatures and then just below them like painted miniatures. And you can see
like the painted's like
looks better
Yeah.
because you can get a little bit better, like especially I think just in ink wash. Like if you got the color printed mini and then did a dark ink wash, it'd probably look pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But they go into detail all through here about all the different things they're implementing into their design process to where you can really, really get at it with customizing the colors and things. And then they're adding other cool things in, like you can build your mini and do all the color and then order for fairly inexpensive, like a digital token that you can use like on a lot of the digital maps. Or like, I think it'd be cool to print those out because with the overhead camera here for MHDD, sometimes it's hard to really see what's going on when it's just the top down of all these. But if you got a cool color, token, that might show up a little bit better.
Yeah.
Depending on, I don't know, how the tokens went down.
Yeah.
But
I guess my only thing with it is something that Paul brings up here. Like how long does it take to print one of these minis? Like, cause I know with 3D printing, it can take hours for things you would be like.
But with a $250,000 3D printer?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm at. Like, how can it print a bunch at once, or is it still have to focus one at a time?
I can only assume its speed is tied directly to how much it costs.
Yes, I mean, you'd hope so. But with the
$1 more, 0.1% more speed.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I think Paul said here is 25,000 promised miniatures so far. Like, how long would that take?
Well, so I think he's inferring a little bit from the 23,000 backers. But some of these minis aren't color minis that you're backing for.
Okay.
Like one of the pledges, that has 400 backers is just the access to the token maker.
Okay.
50 is the print and paint yourself. So it's the STL files, and they've got almost 1,000 backers.
All right. So let's say 20,000 then of those. Like
that's still a fuckload of minis.
It's still a lot
and then
of minis.
Especially you have those two people that account for 500 minis, right?
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
So I'm just curious. Like, how long does it take to print these minis? And then how many machines are they buying? Like, are they gonna just be like, we're gonna get 8 and then just hope this makes money later? Or is it like, all right, we're gonna buy one and then it's just one mini at a time? I mean, I hope it's not that. It better not be that.
No.
But I'm very curious to see how, like, because if they could print them like fairly quickly, like say it took an hour or less, that's pretty cool.
So they say here, they don't give times, but they say they'll open June 2020. They'll open order submission for your backers. So that's when you'll be able to redeem your token that you get on the website to get your mini. and design it and submit it. While we ultimately expect to reach our typical fulfillment speeds, which for ours was like 2 weeks, the orders placed during the closed beta may take several months for fulfillment as they wrap up capacity. And it will be gradual as they go through orders in the order they're received. So, I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah, I don't see anything. I didn't go like super through this in depth to see about how fast they do it. It says like 3D printing has evolved at incredible speed.
I mean, that's very true.
Colors produced by mixing a range of color materials on the fly, allowing for full vivid prints with beautiful gradients and detail. Dissolvable support materials, removing the need for sprues and allowing for smoother, more consistent surfaces.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, it's if all that's true, and say it takes like an hour or so to print one, then yeah, that's definitely feasible. I think, especially if they get
a few machines.
Yeah, a few machines, but I don't know. It's a lot of ifs, but I mean, they look cool, and I'm hoping that's true.
Yeah. Treasure Tuesday's their day where they add all the new stuff to the site. Stretch goals. Yeah, I don't know. Man, they've blasted through a bunch of unlocks too.
Well, because it's like you're like, holy shit, they can do 3D printed color minis. I'm in.
I mean, it's fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Let's see. Q&As. What printer are you using? They're using the Mimaki 3D-UJ, but they don't say how many.
Yeah.
Nothing backwards compatible. Yeah. I don't know. Nothing more specific than April. I think it was the April that they'd launch be able to order your mini, and then it'd be over the next few months, depending on how many are ordered and what's ordered and when. So
right. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of videos of speed, but they're all sped up, so it's hard to tell. You can go to 22 microns.
Yeah.
1270 DPI.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, spend $40 and maybe get a mini sometime in color.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it looks fucking sweet.
It does.
So,
I mean, you'd hope a $250,000 machine will do good stuff.
You would hope. So. Man, I would love to be able to afford a $250,000 3D printer. If I win the lottery, like a multi-million dollar, like I think I'd probably need 8 figures. I win an 8-figure lottery.
All right, so 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2. There you go.
So, anyhow, yeah.
10 million is 8 figures, right?
Yes.
And then you get 5.
Well, I only need one, but there's a lot of other things I would buy before I'd buy a $250,000 printer.
Yeah.
The printer costs almost as much as this entire house that we are doing the studio thing in.
And then the cold power generator that you'd need to install in the backyard to be able to run it.
Right.
Some industrial power.
I would hope Excel would cut me off in a heartbeat.
I would hope you just put it over there and you just connect it to that plug right over there.
This one.
Yeah, that one, yes.
That one right there.
It's a heavier duty strip, that one right there.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Never mind that they all link through the outlet in that bathroom up there. Just ignore that. That's a very hardy outlet.
But the minis. Oh, the minis.
Ugh, the minis.
Yeah. Some of the ones in that you can pledge for are like their base minis, but professionally painted too. And that's what some of the ones they show.
Gotcha.
Throughout that whole Kickstarter, they're professional painters painting things. But yeah, holy shit, I want it. I want it real bad. So, that wraps up Kickstarters though. So we can move on to some listener feedback. Starting with an email or two, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. First up, this one's from Brian. Hi, game guys. Longtime listener to the show and just wanted to thank you for the entertaining banter and game coverage. Many of the games you have covered have found their way into my collection over the years. I am interested in meeting you at game night as I will be in Denver the first week of February. My only question is, where will that be? Thanks again, Brian. If it's the first Wednesday of a month, we will be at Diebold Brewing. The second Wednesday of the month, we will be at Strangecraft/Wits End Brewing.
Yeah.
Strange Wits.
I'm assuming that's still correct.
What? For the first Wednesday?
Yeah.
Strange or Diebold.
Diebold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said.
Oh.
First Wednesday, Diebold. Second Wednesday, strange.
Yes.
Wits.
Okay.
Strange wits.
Strange wits. Correctamundo.
Well, I hope to see you there.
Yes.
We'll be there.
I will not. I'll be in Japan.
Well, yeah.
But Zach
People-
and Jeff should be there.
The people that matter will be there. all the cool people.
All the cool kids.
Yeah.
See, that I buy more than the people who matter because I matter.
You are
Like-
matter.
Like
I can.
like
You've got neutrons, electrons, protons, the whole thing.
fuck right off. Fuck right off.
You've got some atoms in there somewhere made of something.
Just a couple.
Mostly bullshit.
Got
It's filled with empty space.
Anyway, next email.
This next email is from Mike Jones, titled, I Can't Do It Anymore. Dear favorite MHGGs,
Who's his?
I don't know who these other-
Who the other ones? That's what I
Yeah.
want to know.
because we need to sue them. I can't handle it. And another episode wherein Jeff has to say the saddest emails at milehighgameguys.com and followed up with no new emails. So here we go. We should, as a group, begin calling LCGs and the like Boyds for bring your own deck. That way we don't have to use the phrase deck construction game ever again. I would like to clarify that this is my position. Jeff Jackson of MHGG. Sorry for the digression. Back to the email.
Just really throwing down some opinions,
Marvel
Jeff.
Champions is not Marvel Champions LCG. It's Marvel Champions the card game.
Yeah,
But it has that LCG in the corner.
it
I
does.
guess.
No.
I can't imagine I was the only one gently shaking my head at as Jeff struggled for the appropriate term to describe a tennis match last week. If somebody else already sent a similar email to this, please disregard. But if not, get ready for a whole lot of rich white people talk, because not as much as golf or polo. A tennis match comprises of a number of sets. I will use Wimbledon as an example here, as it is arguably the most prestigious and best-known tennis Grand Slam tournament. Men's matches, singles and doubles, at Wimbledon are played to best of 5 sets. Women's singles and doubles, and mixed doubles to 3. Until last year, each of the first 4, or 2, sets is played to a maximum of 12 games, during which one player must win at least 6 games and beat the other player by at least 2. Therefore, acceptable scores in each of the first 4 sets range from 6-0, 6-love, to 6-4, or in rare cases, 7-5. If, however, after 12 games, the set is tied at 6 games apiece, the players play a tiebreaker, the winner of which wins the 13th game and takes the set 7-6. The 5th set has no tiebreaker and can conceivably go on without end. The longest recorded 5th set ended 70-68, where American John Eisner beat Frenchman Nicolas Mahut.
I almost certainly guarantee that is wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to try and correct it.
Yep, he's French, whatever. Beat the Frenchman in 2010 in 11 hours, 5 minutes over 3 days. Since last year, there have now been 5 set tiebreakers, meaning that this will forever be the longest match ever at Wimbledon.
They're now 5th.
Oh,
set
there are
time.
not now 5th set tiebreakers. Also, a shot that dies just over the net is a drop shot. As a digression, you should all watch 7 Days in Hell, featuring Andy Samberg playing Kit Harington in a fictional longest match ever at Wimbledon. If you can spare the 48 minutes or whatever it is, and you're all listening to this, so you can spare it.
Rude.
That's the one I recommended to you.
Yes.
Adrian. Yeah. It's good. It's on HBO, but yeah.
That's all I got tonight. Catch y'all later, MJ.
Thanks, Mike Jones.
Thank you.
That's a lot of tennis. That's more tennis than I ever needed to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
But I know if I flick that thing into the right spot, perfect.
Perfect.
It just never happens. So
So now we just need somebody to write in and give us a really in-depth explanation of the other 2 super white people sports of golf and polo.
I'm sure there's plenty of golf.
I
For
understand
golf?
golf. Golf is easy.
For golf, just watch the Robin Williams bit that he has about golf. That's all you need to know.
It's so old too.
Oh, man. Such a good bit.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't know anything about polo other than there's a water version and a horse version
That is technically correct.
and a Marco version.
That's
but
the
not a
less-
horse. But not a horse water version.
No, not yet.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah.
No. Do the horses have snorkels? Those polo
is
pools
like
are real
tennis
deep.
and golf, but on horses. Uh-oh. Paul wants us to refresh the email.
Bonus email.
Bonus email. Those are always fun.
Bone mail.
Yep.
Polo explanations from Paul. You ride horses and hit balls with mallets. It's pretty easy.
Bam, done.
Boom.
Now,
That's what I got from MJ's email about tennis, so it seems about right.
Does he mean, like, the way he says it's pretty easy, like it's easy to do polo? Has Paul done polo?
Oh, it's very easy, yeah.
Are we just going to assume forever now that Paul was a polo player in his former
highly
life?
doubt Paul has ever played horse polo.
And May says there's a lot of junk grabbing in the water version.
Yes, I have heard that.
Really?
It is vicious under the water. Like kicking, grabbing, pulling. Yeah.
What am I?
It's like apparently like in the NFL when there's like a big dog pile, apparently people are in there just cranking fingers the whole time.
Ugh.
Like, yeah, people get mean
Good times.
when, I don't know, money and or pride.
Or
and
people can't see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, right on. That is it for the emails then.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
Did we have any BGG stuff?
We got
Zach?
one.
Right on.
This one is from our episode 70 and top 10 most impactful games to us.
Episode 170.
Yep. What did I say, 70?
Yes.
170, my bad. This is from Mark M. Just a minor correction. I believe it was Jeff on this episode who said reading market, but it's pronounced like he was reading a book.
Reading.
But he pronounced it like he was reading a book. It's actually Reading.
It is.
I wish I could have run into you there. I had to sell my ticket. I'll be there next year for sure. PAX? Yep.
Yes. Reading.
Reading.
As
yes.
in the railroad.
Yep.
Because the rail line used to run through there.
Gotcha.
But not Reading Railroad.
No.
That's a different thing.
Yes, Reading.
We also got a new comment over on YouTube from our review of War of the Worlds, The New Wave, from Dan. Hey guys, great review. Just curious if Gray Fox had any comments and any possible adjustments that they may have made after it was shipped. I backed the game and have not got it yet. I will check BGG for fan suggestions. Thanks again. I've never seen anything official from Gray Fox. I asked you guys to kind of look on BGG before the show. Did you see anything much other than the thread where people were like, Mile High Game Guys are crazy and it's totally balanced and they must be playing wrong?
No, all I saw was that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I couldn't find anything.
I don't think we were playing wrong. We played a lot of different times with a lot of different people. I would have think somebody would have caught something.
We played it over 15 games, and we had one human win, I think.
We had a human win?
Who won on human?
Did we have any human wins? I thought you had one where
we got one that was close.
One was close?
Yeah, I came very close.
Yeah.
In my first game ever as humans.
Yeah.
So of our 15 gameplays, there were 0 human wins.
Yes.
With multiple different people.
So it could,
And all 7 of mine were just... I literally never played aliens. I only played humans because I wanted to be like, is there something I'm missing? And I never found the thing I was missing.
Okay.
So that's our experience with it. It could, obviously we only have that amount of games to play, and other people seem to have found a balance.
Yeah.
But so it's just maybe our group.
And I think it came up in the review. It's like, well, how experienced are people that are playing these various factions? Are more experienced players just way better with the aliens?
That's why we tried a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
But it never changed for us.
Yeah.
If it was more fun to play as humans while getting beat, I would maybe be willing to keep trying.
And I think our main negative on it was just so much of a slog and not fun to play as the humans because you were just getting trounced, where like the aliens were building up and the humans were being beaten down, and it didn't feel like you had it wasn't fun getting beaten down. So
no. So to answer your question, Dan, I'm not sure. I
did feel that the Irish expansion added some good things that I think were needed into the balance of the game. But
I think you should have had an option to start some people over there. It would have given the humans a much needed early,
because they get a little income, they get a little defense, and
So, but I don't know.
I'm glad that they have found a balance with it.
Yeah. I mean, and this could just be some weird fluke where in our group something about the meta or how we play or something. I don't know. I don't know.
definitely not saying it as a fact. We're just saying it as our opinion.
It was our experience
And
that it felt very unbalanced, and more than that it felt unbalanced. It felt very one-sided in the fun side of things.
Exactly. Also true. Yes.
It was not fun for any of us to play humans.
Yeah.
Like,
it's fun for some people to play aliens.
It was a ton of fun to play aliens. Yeah.
Destroying the English. It's great.
So, yeah, that's it for YouTube comments. So yeah, that's all of our listener feedback for this episode. So thanks everybody who sent stuff in. We really appreciate it. If you would like to get a hold of us, there are multiple ways to do so. You can send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can get a hold of us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We also have our Instagram account, Instagram.com/MHGameGuys. I just got on the Insta. Woo. The last week.
The IG.
First time ever. Yeah.
The Gram, the Insta, the IG. I don't know. It depends on which generation knows which calls it by what.
I thought it was just Insta.
That's okay, boomer.
That's
the old way to say it.
Is
sir.
it really?
I think so. I think the IG or the IG or something is the new hip way. I don't know.
Anyway.
I'm sad that I know this.
We have an Instagram.
Yes.
So you can go check that out. We also have a Facebook account, facebook.com/MHGameGuys. And we have our website, milehighgameguys.com, where you'll find links to all of the show notes, timestamps, things like that, links to the news and Kickstarters that we talk about.
Episodes are appearing on there again, so it's good.
There's also links over there to our Slack channel, where you can join in all of the inane chatter that we have over there at all times, including potentially for the next couple weeks, my Japan trip channel that I'm going to start, just so I can share Japan trip stuff without inundating all of the other channels all of the time. Links to our BGG guild number 2731, where you can see weekly episode posts and a calendar of some streams and whatnot. And lastly, if you're listening to this on podcast, you can actually watch us record these episodes on Sunday nights over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys. We also do Friday streams, usually of games, even if it hasn't been for the last couple weeks. We'll get back to doing a lot of those games. And Mile High Dungeon Delver streams over there as well. So all of that awesome stuff. As always, on Wednesdays, we would like to thank our sponsors, Gray Fox Games. As we discussed during the Kickstarter segment, their newest game, Tortuga 2199, has launched on Kickstarter. If you want to go check out a fun little area control deck buildy space game with some pretty sweet art and some double layer area boards, like little hexes.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've seen a lot of that. It's always been player boards.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And if you want to hear us talk more about that,
just rewind a bit.
Rewind it.
Yeah. So, Jeff, do you have a prepared statement for us?
As is tradition. Gray Fox Games, quality games cleverly crafted. Also, of course, I can't begin to count the number of agents whose lives were saved by a cardboard box.
Nice.
Yeah. Right on. That pretty much wraps everything up, except for the first time in a while, we get to announce a new patron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. So thank you very much to our latest patron over on patreon.com/milehighgameguys, Wesley W. So yet another Wes joining the ranks. And he went with the big $5 pledge. So
he just didn't want Jeff to destroy him.
Yeah, Jeff doesn't even get a rip on him. We just get to say thank you so much.
Yeah.
For supporting the show and
letting us do what we do.
Yeah, because it was definitely our patrons that made all of this happen.
This nightmare continues because of you.
This is true. You fund the continued operation. So thanks, Wes. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much.
I think that pretty much wraps everything up. I am leaving on a jet plane in now, I believe, under 30 hours, and I have not even begun to pack. So
for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That's already an episode. I can't say it again.
So, yeah, I'm going to get off here, and then I'm going to spend a little bit of time with my girlfriend, and we're going to go to bed, and then we're going to get up early, and tomorrow's going to be all day packing, and then dropping off the dog in the evening, and then catching a early fucking flight on Tuesday morning.
How early?
The flight leaves at like 5:50.
Okay.
So
And it's international, no less.
Yeah.
no, we fly to LA.
That's right.
We fly to LA, and then we have like a 3-hour layover in LA, and then we have our big flight to Tokyo.
No
So,
direct Tokyo flights from Denver, huh?
no direct flights from Denver to Tokyo. So,
Bummer.
no, I'm quite okay with it only being a 12-hour
That's
flight
fine.
instead of a 15-hour flight. That wraps up everything. You guys will hear from Zach and Jeff on a couple streams on Fridays, and next week's episode without me. I mean, I think the week after that too. I think you'll have to do 2 episodes without me. Oh no. Bye everyone. As always, I've been your host Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm Shatterversary Jeff.
Bye.
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 Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
pull up a chair
At punchboardmedia.com.